Hello and welcome back to the Coffee Dates podcast with Georgia Batocco, where I will be your host. We're in the Let's Catch Up Over Coffee era, so grab yourself your favourite coffee and come and join me. Okay, so I had some feedback from my brother, thank you Ben, that I always kind of start the podcast with, I apologise for the noise, and then he said you can never hear anything. And I was literally about to just start the podcast with, I am sorry for the noise because someone is drilling outside. But I don't know if you can hear that, but I guess the quality has been okay so far, considering I'm just using a very cheap microphone. But anyway, I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is having a lovely week so far. It's currently a Monday as I'm recording this. I'm not too sure when I'm going to put this one out there. But yeah, I hope everyone is good. Thank you so much for everyone who's listening. Please, please, please give this podcast a rating. And yeah, just subscribe and follow my Instagram page, which the handle is the Coffee Dates Podcast. Purely because I want to get this podcast out there. Like, I'm new to this. It's hard to reach a big audience. So yeah, please help me if you are listening, because I see you all listening. It shows me all the different countries. So yeah, I know you guys are listening. So please do me a favor and do that so that it helps me reach more people. Anyway, so today I actually am going to be doing my first episode on something fitness related. I'm actually going to keep this one pretty short. I'm not going to go into actual training and working out and tips on that kind of stuff, but I basically just want to share with you 5 very simple tips that genuinely, if I had heard back on my fitness journey, like back at the start, would have been super, super helpful. But yeah, basically I was looking back at some old reels that I made during lockdown, and I found one where I'd put up a reel on my page of the 5 simple tips that I would give for anyone on or starting their fitness journey. Like I said, I understand like it's not gonna help necessarily with like training techniques, nutrition, etc. But I do believe that fitness is definitely like all in the mindset, just as well as, physically using your body. So yeah, I do believe these tips will help. And like I said, they would have genuinely helped me at the start, because starting your journey in fitness can be very overwhelming, especially if it's something extremely new to you. Because you have to remember, for people that have been training for a very long time, they know exactly what they're doing, what they're working out, how to work out, what to eat. Maybe they're following a plan. They've been training for ages. You kind of learn how to get yourself into that training mode, no matter how you're feeling, no matter if you've had a bad day. You know how to just get in the zone and train. But, I was personal training for a long time, and I would have clients come in who weren't as big into the gym, who hadn't been training for a long time, and they would be coming in after work. And I would have clients that would just start crying before we'd even started. And yeah, I'd have to sit in the cafe with some of them, and we'd just talk for the whole session because they hadn't quite figured out how to train and move their body when they were feeling bad. They just wanted to kind of talk it out instead. So that's kind of one of the reasons I really truly believe that fitness is massively in the mindset as well, and it's about teaching yourself how to get into that training zone, no matter kind of how your day's been or how you're feeling. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So tip number 1 was, I have wrote here, enjoy the journey, measure success on a variety of things, not just your physique. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I do love working out for, I guess, aesthetic reasons. I like to look and feel good and feel comfortable and confident in my body. And to me, that is looking good and being in good shape. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. So a lot of my fitness journey, I'm going to be honest, yes, I have worked out to look good. But then there's definitely times where that become boring for me. I was doing it day in, day out, and it wasn't enough for me. So I actually started putting, there was a little stage, and I do this even now, where I just started putting more focus into mobility and flexibility work. So I used to do some dancing, and to me, I love gymnastics, being able to move my bodies in ways that a lot of people can't, just, developing my flexibility. So when I would start to kind of lose motivation in having my goal as just looking good, yeah, I started focusing on flexibility more, getting into a certain stretch and trying to be lower the next time. So, for example, for somebody else, if, looking good isn't quite enough for their goal, then maybe you're going to focus on getting stronger. So, lifting heavier each time. It doesn't just have to be about your physique. At the same time, there is nothing wrong with training and looking good. But yeah, there's other ways you can measure your success in fitness. Something else that I actually notice through training clients is enjoying the journey meant, again, not just physical changes, but building up confidence. That wasn't even necessarily just because their bodies were changing. Some of my clients would actually message me saying that they were sat in the car outside the gym and they were too nervous to walk in. So quite often I would go and, meet them at the, outside at the entrance, just for them to even get their foot into the door in the gym. So yeah, building up that confidence of doing something new that scared them allowed them to try other things that they'd been wanting to try, other hobbies, even just going out for a coffee on your own, but you're too nervous and you felt too uncomfortable to do that. So just breaking that barrier and doing something that you thought you never would, allowed the clients to try other things they'd been wanting to try for a long time and realizing that they were capable of a lot more than they thought. Okay, so tip number 2. Tip number 2, I've wrote, support other people through their fitness journey. Their success will not limit yours. Now, this is a huge one. I feel so strongly about this one because I'm sorry to say, and I hate that I have to say it, but there's so many people that don't support others, that don't even support their friends and family when they're doing something new or succeeding. That's a whole nother topic. I can do a whole episode on that, and I did actually do a little essay on this. I love writing, by the way, and I did actually do an essay on supporting your friends and family, so I'll definitely do an episode on that. And it was kind of along the lines of, we are kind of taught to compare and to be the best, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that to an extent, because it's good to better yourself, but it needs to be on a healthy level. You still, whilst doing that, should be congratulating your friends and family, especially if they're doing something that's really out of their comfort zone, like starting their fitness journey, and you don't want to congratulate them because you feel like that's gonna stop your success or whatever. I don't know. But please support your friends and family. I feel like when we see someone doing something different or something new or doing well, we automatically try and shut it down, and we compare ourselves to where they're at. And we go down this whole rabbit hole rather than just being like, that is so good, what she's achieving or what he's achieving. I'm going to congratulate them, and I'm going to strive to be better and see that as motivation to try that new thing I've been wanting to do, rather than just comparing yourself to them and where they're at compared to you, and, oh, I'm not doing that. Just, simply congratulate someone and see it as motivation, or if you don't care, you don't care. Just be a good friend. So yeah, I love that one. Anyway, tip number 3 I have put here: prioritize rest days. Your body will thank you later. Trust me. Now, again, this is a big one to me because when I was back personal training, my life revolved around the gym. Okay, I was in that gym 6-7 days a week. Literally, my training plan was probably about 6 to 7 days a week. And that was just my training plan. And then I taught classes. So I taught 2 classes a week, which were very high intense. And I joined in with all of it. And then I was obviously on my feet all day training clients. And then I would also do a lot of like walking on my breaks. And I was just constantly moving. Now, my training plans, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am pretty good at writing training plans. Hit me up if you do want one. I do still do them online. But my training plans back then, like obviously I was learning, like I've learned as a trainer as I go what works, what doesn't, what's too much. I mean, my bloody training plans were brutal. Like, to be honest, they were a little bit too much. Like, if you think of overtraining, like I was overtraining, okay? And around the time of when I first started was when it was like, oh my God, like I want a big bum. It was all about growing your bum. So a lot of my training programs were focused on training the bum. Okay, and they were great plans, but it was just too much. So I begun to get a very, very sore lower back from all of this like repetitive like glute training that I was doing that I didn't need to do. And I remember the chiropractor that worked in my gym saying, like, you're going to seriously have bad, like, back problems when you're older if you don't stop. Like, I had a very bad anterior tilt, and I would walk around, like, sticking out my bum, but, like, I didn't realize I was doing it. And I just remember this one night I was lying in bed, and I had extreme pain down my left side. I'd never known anything like it. I still haven't had a pain like that. Like, it was intense. Like, I started crying, and I have a very high pain tolerance. And that was a bit of a wake-up call as well, the damage I was doing from overtraining. And yeah, I started to take it a little bit more seriously from that point. I started always making sure I was doing mobility work before my sessions, and always stretching after. And so anyway, let's now fast forward to being out in Australia about 2 years ago. I was having extreme leg pain again to the point where I just couldn't sleep. It was so bad. I was almost like crying in my sleep. I wasn't really aware of it. And I was like, okay, it's time to go to the doctor. I was just in constant pain, like chronic pain. And I went to the doctor and I had some scans of my back, and there was quite a lot of different things going on there. Like, it was quite bad. And the first thing the doctor said when he looked at it was, have you been in a car crash? Like, are you okay sat there? Like, he was shocked. And he was like, this is okay if you were like 50 years old, but you're not. And how is your back going to look now when you are 50 years old, kind of thing? And I was like, great, thank you. Because he hadn't looked at the results until I was sat with him. So wasn't ideal. But there was a lot of different stuff going on with my back, and it was that point where I was like, I have to take this seriously because I'm in chronic pain. And honestly, a lot of that is probably from overtraining and doing exercises constantly that I didn't need to do, and not resting enough and not taking rest seriously. Because it's not even about rest, it's about recovery as well, So yeah, please prioritize your rest, because you think you're invincible when you're young, like I did, and it does catch up to you. Okay, so number 4, I have put here, don't let people's advice/opinions overwhelm you. Do your own research and stick to what works best for you. Okay, so again, I love this one. Because, I'll tell you why, because I love it even more now, okay? Because when I first started personal training, fitness has obviously always been huge, but it was not as big as it is now, simply because obviously we've got all these different social medias now, and Instagram wasn't as big a thing back then. It was new. We only really had Facebook, and people didn't really post fitness stuff on Facebook too much. But once Instagram came out and it started getting bigger, that's when fitness really started to take off. So, I mean, if I struggled when I started my fitness journey and there wasn't even like that much content about it, I hate to think how people trying to start their journey now feel, because there is so much different content out there telling you to do all these bloody different things. And all these coaches being like, train with me, I know best kind of thing. And I hate to say it, but I was one of those coaches once upon a time, and that is exactly the kind of post I would write. And I kind of hate myself for it now, because now I see why like older women would just be like, yes. Because obviously I didn't have 3 kids. I wasn't working full time with 3 kids, juggling this and that. Anyway, I'm going on a little tantrum now, but yeah, basically the point is there is so much different stuff out there, okay, that people are posting on social media, telling you to do this, telling you not to do that. Honestly, because it did overwhelm me back when I started. Like I like to the point where I would be sticking to my program and it would be working well, and then I'd see one post from someone I didn't know being like, never do that exercise, and then I would just stop doing it. Until I started seeing results and I realized that I had to trust myself because my programs were paying off. And then I stopped listening to anyone else and I just continued doing my programs because I trusted in it and I knew it was going to work. So basically, in conclusion, guys, stop letting all of these different things take over your brain and change your training style that is working for you. Now, of course, if you really don't know what you're doing, I would encourage getting a coach. They are extremely helpful if you are new and you have no idea and you're not making results. Obviously, really make sure it's the right trainer, but yes, get a trainer. But if you've been training for a long time and your plans are working for you and you're enjoying them, then stop listening to all of the rubbish around you, okay? Because there's so much different stuff out there. Who are they to tell you this and that? And different exercises work slightly differently for everyone. And the same with nutrition. Everyone's bodies are different and they're going to react to different stuff. So please stop letting all of this stuff that consumes you on social media, or this fitness stuff, just stop letting it consume you, because sometimes you do know best. You know your body, and that's one of the biggest things I learned that I knew my body and I knew what was right for me. But again, if you're new to training and you have no idea, definitely get some help first. But yeah, I love that one. Stick to what works for you best. Okay, and my tip number 5, my last tip for you guys, is stay consistent and stay patient. Now, again, I love this one. I mean, I've said I love this one to all of them. I did pick these tips, but they really are great, guys. Like, stay consistent and stay patient. And it's not just like something I'm just gonna throw out there and be all like Instagram-y to stay consistent and stay patient. Like, I'm being genuinely serious, okay? And it kind of ties back to like the rest day thing. So when I first started, a little background, I was so small. Like, I was tiny, or always had been naturally very, very small. And a lot of people would call me skinny all the time, and I used to hate it. People would think it was a compliment, but I hated it. I hated being called skinny. And so my goal was, from the get-go, when I started lifting weights, was to gain muscle. I wanted to get curvy and grow a bum. And of course, someone who's coming from being really skinny and has never really trained properly with weights before and eaten a proper nutritious diet before, it's going to take some time. And I hated that. I would then overtrain, because like I'd look at my bum and I would legit be like, okay, it's not growing, and I'd go straight to the gym and do a leg workout. The next day, same thing, and it was just too much, okay? The results were happening, but you don't see it straight away. And because I didn't see it straight away, I then overworked my body, which led me to probably having my back problems. So honestly, stay consistent and stay patient. So still keep training consistently, be consistent with your diet, but don't overdo it. So you need to stay patient, because even sometimes when you can't see it, the results are happening. It's going to catch up with you. So yeah, I definitely love that one too. But anyway, I said this would be a short one, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope they help you. I personally stepped out of the fitness industry just because of something I touched upon earlier. I do feel like it's extremely overcrowded these days, and it's very opinionated, and I see people reposting other people's fitness stuff and talking bad stuff about it, saying how that's incorrect, and I just don't really want to be involved in that, to be honest. I think it's unnecessary. So yeah, that's why I kind of stepped out of it, like coaching myself. I still keep active and I still train. I still work hard on my body and diet. But yeah, that's the one of the honest reasons why I stopped coaching myself. But it is something I constantly think about getting back into. I will be doing more episodes on the fitness journey and actually getting into training techniques and kind of what worked for me and what could help you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.